So I haven't heard this spoke on at all, but I think I know the reason behind Conor McGregor's quote-unquote retirement. So Dana White came out and pretty much said to Conor McGregor, "Hey, brother, you need to wait. You need to wait for your fight. You need to wait for the title fight." Pretty much. And supposedly, Conor McGregor was throwing Dana White all these fight offers. I want this guy. I want this guy. I want this guy. I talked about how this is supposed to be my fighting season, and I haven't really had much of a season. I've really only had one game. But apparently the UFC is over here turning it down. So then Conor McGregor at 6 a.m. on the dot, as if for an automated scheduled posts that he is retired. Now the reason why I don't think he's retired is because what he said after the fact, in culmination with what Dana White said in conjunction with Conor McGregor's next fight. Dana White says you need to wait to fight, my friend. Well, it might have been a long time since Conor McGregor's last fight of Donald Cerrone, even longer prior to that. But you can't really have a comeback if you didn't go anywhere. Conor McGregor said for the reason his retirement is that there isn't any fights that make sense or that interest him right now. It's hard for me to understand that and agree with that because, you've been called out by Anderson Silva, of which you've accepted. That's pretty interesting. The Nate Diaz fight is always there, but it seems like that might be more of a Jorge Masvidal kind of thing at this point. You can always go up, fight Kamaru Usman for the belt, apparently, according to Ali Abdelaziz. But I think more so when Conor McGregor said there's no interesting fights for him right now, that probably means more so if there's no interesting fights that the UFC is willing to match him up with right now. So of course there's interesting matchups out there right now for Conor McGregor. We've seen those matchups. I know that we can name probably 10 matchups. It's Conor McGregor. Anyone that Conor McGregor decides to fight is an interesting matchup. But he's probably more so just saying that because he's being queued up currently for Khabib or Justin, or because he wants to have some sort of comeback. You can't come back if you never left. What LL Cool J say? Don't call it a comeback, I've been here for years. Well, then you didn't retire, LL. Mr. J, you didn't retire. You didn't leave. Maybe you could have sold some more albums had you retired and then came back. Everyone loves a good comeback story. Everyone loves a comeback fight, even if they know that you were lying or messing around when you left in the first place. That's why Conor McGregor said, "See ya, thanks for the cheese," 3 separate times already. Everybody loves a good comeback. Conor McGregor knows that. Any way that Conor McGregor can use his name to get into the media is going to be a win for Conor McGregor. So he's just exhausting another one of his options to do so. I would say we see Conor McGregor fight by the end of the year. I would also say that unless Jorge Masvidal gets matched up with Nate Diaz, because Jorge Masvidal is coming off a fight with Nate Diaz, straight into a title fight with Kamaru Usman, if those two could figure out their pay situation, Conor McGregor is going to go from Nate Diaz right into a title shot too. Think about that. Conor McGregor went from Nate Diaz into a title shot with Eddie Alvarez. Jorge Masvidal went from Nate Diaz into a title opportunity with Kamaru Usman. Then what happens if Jorge Masvidal and Nate Diaz don't get matched up coming up soon? Option for Conor McGregor to come in and take that fight is there. Now I know they probably want to keep that fight queued up because that's a fight they'll probably always sell. Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz can both lose their next 2 fights, and that fight will still do numbers. But it's a possibility. It's also a possibility of Conor McGregor stepping in for Khabib or Justin. It's also a possibility of Conor McGregor taking on whomever. It's just a question on, is Conor McGregor willing to queue up until Justin Gaethje versus Khabib is done? Because you got to remember that as well. Conor McGregor has to wait for a camp, the fight, rest, another camp, and then to fight before he's able to go in there and take on Khabib, unless something happens with Justin Gaethje in the meantime. Conor McGregor jumps the queue or if something bad just happens. So, is Conor McGregor willing to wait that long for 155, or does Conor McGregor decide to test his hand at 170 and see what he can accomplish? Guys, it's Nick with Combat Sports World reminding you. Hey Bowser, what do we remind him, buddy? Hey, Sneezy, Bowser. Brethren, yeah, me. I'm talking to you. They need to go. They need to go join Fight Club, right? Yeah, the Facebook group Fight Club. We're official partners. But they also, they also need to stay combative, my friend.